This is a video, right? Okay. I just videotaped myself. Ha ha. It was all a photo, so you didn't hear any of it. This is my book, How to Knitting for Beginners Using the Continental Method. It's a on-demand print book from Amazon. It's black and white, or it's an ebook that's in color. It's also available on my Etsy shop. The address is showing right there. So this episode is the last of however many, 4, 5, I'm not sure, I've lost track. So I had tied off, put on the tapestry needle string 15 stitches for the thumb, and then I just went in and picked up 3 stitches from where I had added stitches, and I left a 6-inch tail on the inside, and I showed you without showing you, because it was a photo not a video, how to sew up the gusset holes, because there will be 2 holes on either side of the gusset, which means on the in and out side of your hand. So they have to be filled. So that's why the tail is about 6 inches long, so that you have plenty. So you just go back and forth on the inside when you're finished knitting and gently tug those spaces together. Make a little stitching over to the other side and do the same for the other side. So that's what happens normally after what I'm doing right now. So the recipe says I'm doing 5 rounds, and this is the beginning of the first one. And I also showed, but you didn't hear because it was on photo, how to tuck the tail in from the ribbing at the top. I'm going slowly because I might have twisted stitches after undoing what I had done, because I only have one mitten knit this far today. I'm stretching myself around this bowl that my camera is sitting on top of, my iPad, which is why it's so close. The camera is so close. Okay, so I have 3 stitches there, and I don't think I had knit into them. I hadn't. So here's one. It's not a real stitch, but that's where one of those holes comes from. And then I'm going to borrow a stitch from this needle so that I have 4 on the top of the inside of the thumb, because it's easier to knit that way, and to have 3. Also, when you start ribbing, you will have 4 on each needle, because when you're knitting a knit to purl to pattern, it's easiest if you have I don't know what happened to that, but anyway, my video went crazy. It's easiest to have multiple 4 when you're doing a knit to purl to, so that's why I put 4 at the top. If I knew how to pause this, I would, so that you wouldn't have to sit there watching all of this, but I apologize because I don't know how to do that, and just learning a whole bunch of new skills all at once is time consuming and difficult right now. Difficult right now because too many things have happened. Oops. I just pushed the stitch off instead of knitting it. There you go. Alright, so I can't remember how many this is. What if you can't remember? Well, let me see if we can see this dark yarn well enough to count. We may not. Let's see if I can hold it that far. Okay. We've only gone 2 rounds, I think. So we need 5. fill because I had to start over. So it's really weird watching myself knit on the camera because I really am just knitting without watching. I don't know if that makes sense. Probably not. Try it with your iPad if you have one. You'll see what I mean. I can knit a lot faster if I'm not knitting around a bowl. I can feel this yarn is stuck around a needle or two. One more round and then I can do the decreasing. So I'm assuming that you know how to cast off loosely, because you're going to need to do that so that it doesn't tug on the top of your hand or your thumb or your wrist. Cast on lightly, but anyway. I'm going to get you to the place where you decrease, and then you're going to knit 2, purl 2, bind off loosely. Maybe I should go back into the thumb because you didn't really get to see that. Okay, I'm going across one more time, and I'm going to decrease. I'll show you where I decrease usually. It makes the most sense to me. I decrease at the beginning of this needle. That's one. Let's see if I can remember the second one. Okay, I'm going to decrease at the end of this one. Two more, so I'm going to decrease those. What I could do is, this is a little bit easier, go into those two from the back and knit those two together. So from here, for 5 more rows, I would do knit 2, purl 2. So I'm going to do 1 row and then I'm going to bind off so that you can see what I'm going to do on the inside, because I think that would be easier than what I did before, which you don't know anything about because I was photographing, not videoing. Highly awkward and very uninformative. Okay, why is there an extra stitch here? Oh, because I took it off of here. So I'm going to move this to this needle, and that makes that one equal. Because I must have a multiple of 4. I'm going to bind. I normally would go for 5 rows and then bind off, but this time I'm not. Just going to bind off because I want to go inside. And I'm using purl where I would use purl, knit where I would use knit. something. So this is it.